Greetings, X-Men enthusiasts, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're tearing into the file of a legendary figure who defines the word anti-hero. Wolverine. This guy is more than just a mutant with sharp claws. He's a century-spanning warrior, a martial arts master, and a walking medical miracle. From the snowy wilds of Canada to the secret labs of Weapon X, Logan's life is an action movie marathon. You know the adamantium, you know the attitude, but there's so much more beneath the surface. We've got 6 deeply detailed facts about his powers and history that will give you a whole new appreciation for the character. So, let's dive into the fascinating secrets of the Wolverine. Fact number 1, his real name isn't Logan, and he's much older than you think. While the name Logan has become synonymous with the character, even becoming his chosen identity, it's not the name he was born with. According to the 2001 comic series Origin, Wolverine's birth name is actually James Howlett. He was born in the late 1880s in Alberta, Canada, into a wealthy family. The name Logan originally belonged to the family's groundskeeper, and eventually James's biological father, whose death during a traumatic event caused James's powers to first manifest. James then adopted the name Logan to survive as a fugitive after losing his memory. The weight of this revelation is huge, establishing him as one of the oldest and most seasoned active heroes in the Marvel Universe, predating the birth of Captain America. This revelation makes Wolverine around 140 years old in the modern continuity. His mutant healing factor doesn't just rapidly repair injuries, it drastically slows his aging process, keeping him in peak physical condition. Think of the sheer volume of history he's lived through. He's fought in both world wars, been a samurai in Japan, and served in Black Ops teams, all before he ever joined the X-Men. His long life gives him centuries of combat experience, making him one of the most formidable fighters on Earth, a true martial arts master who has learned from the greatest in history. It's a vast, rich history that explains his world-weary attitude, his deep respect for certain historical codes like the Samurai Bushido, and his phenomenal diverse skill set in every form of combat imaginable. Fact number 2, his claws were not originally part of his powers. This is a fun piece of comic history that often surprises new fans. When Wolverine first appeared in The Incredible Hulk number 180 and number 181 in 1974, the metal claws were presented as part of his Canadian government-issued combat gauntlets. They were literally weapons attached to his suit. The initial design intention was to show him as a high-tech agent of the Canadian government, much like a darker version of Captain America or a secret agent. It wasn't until a few years later, in the pages of the X-Men comics, that writer Chris Claremont and artist John Byrne decided to fundamentally change his origin. They made the claws an organic part of his mutant ability, housed within his forearms. This change added a new, horrifying dimension to his character. The act of extending his claws became an inherently self-mutilating, painful act. He has to tear through his own skin and muscle every single time before his healing factor instantly repairs the damage. It was a brilliant move that underscored his animalistic nature and the constant internal struggle he faces, transforming his signature weapon from a gadget into a terrifying, painful expression of his own biology. The initial power he was born with was the bone claws, which were later coated with the virtually indestructible adamantium during the Weapon X program. Fact number 3, adamantium is poisoning him 24/7. Everyone knows the iconic fact. Wolverine's entire skeleton, including his claws, is coated in the near indestructible fictional alloy adamantium. This happened during the highly secretive and brutal Weapon X program. However, what casual fans might miss is the constant, high-stakes biological battle going on inside his body. Adamantium is a foreign, highly toxic heavy metal. In any other human, having a skeleton plated in it would lead to rapid, agonizing death from massive metal poisoning and organ failure. Wolverine's powerful healing factor is the only thing keeping him alive. It is in a perpetual, energy-draining struggle to fight off the continuous adamantium toxicity and keep his body functioning normally. This relentless internal fight is why he always seems to have a low-level growl. His body is literally stressed out maintaining this incredible feat of biological defense. This constant internal struggle explains a few things. It limits his full potential. If his healing factor wasn't preoccupied with the poisoning, it could be even faster and stronger, potentially healing grievous wounds almost instantaneously. It's his weakness. His healing factor can be overloaded. If he takes too much damage too quickly, or if he's exposed to a metal like carbonadium, an unstable metal that actively inhibits healing factors, the adamantium poisoning will finally overwhelm his system, proving that his greatest defense is also his greatest vulnerability. Fact number 4, he is highly resistant to telepathy. With a life as long, violent, and traumatic as his, you'd think Wolverine would be an easy target for psychic attacks, a rich well of memories for any telepath to dip into, but quite the opposite is true. Logan's mind is one of the toughest nuts to crack in the entire Marvel universe, and there are a couple of compounding reasons why. First, his healing factor extends to his brain tissue, constantly repairing any psychic damage or tampering, effectively giving him a form of mental immunity. If a telepath tries to implant an idea or erase a memory, his body rejects it like an invasive virus. Second, his history of severe trauma, amnesia, and having false memories implanted by the Weapon X program has resulted in his mind being a literal psychic minefield, a maze of mental blocks, traps, and raw, unfiltered emotional agony that even the most powerful telepaths like Professor X struggle to navigate. Professor X actually spent years helping to build these defensive mental barriers, augmenting his natural resistance with trained discipline. Any telepath trying to delve too deep risks being lost in the darkness of Logan's most primal, violent memories, or being severely traumatized themselves by the psychic feedback. It's the ultimate defense mechanism. His pain and chaos are his shield against mental intrusion. Fact number 5. He has superhuman stamina and is immune to lactic acid. Beyond just healing quickly, Wolverine's body is built for perpetual, relentless combat, a quality that often gets overlooked. His healing factor grants him superhuman stamina because his muscles produce significantly less fatigue toxins, primarily lactic acid, than a normal human's. Lactic acid is what causes your muscles to burn, cramp, and tire during intense exercise. Wolverine's body either processes it instantly or simply doesn't produce it at the same rate. This means he can exert himself at peak effort, whether running, fighting, or engaging in a berserker rage for hours, even days, without suffering from physical exhaustion or needing a lengthy rest period. He can literally fight until his body is torn to shreds, heal the damage, and keep going without ever needing a break to catch his breath or rest his muscles. This, combined with the extreme physical conditioning required to constantly lug around an adamantium-laced skeleton, which is significantly heavier than natural bone, makes him an absolutely relentless and tireless combat machine, often fighting wars of attrition that no other hero could survive. Fact number 6. Wolverine once had hot claws. For a brief but unforgettable period in the comics, Wolverine returned from the dead with a shocking new fiery power, Hot Claws. Introduced in the Return of Wolverine miniseries, his adamantium claws would spontaneously heat up to extreme temperatures, glowing intensely red hot, and could actually incinerate and cauterize whatever they cut. This was a massive physical change that gave him an offensive edge he never had before, allowing him to melt through steel and rock in ways his standard claws couldn't. This bizarre new ability was explained as a side effect of his resurrection from his adamantium prison. Essentially, his healing factor was so turbocharged and unstable from the process that the excess biological energy manifested as intense heat channeled through his adamantium claws. The major drawback, however, was significant. Using the hot claws temporarily drew power directly from his healing factor, leaving him momentarily more vulnerable to damage while they were active. It was a controversial power-up that split fans, with many preferring his classic purely cutting ability. Eventually, the power was written out of the main continuity as his healing factor stabilized, but it remains one of the wildest and most short-lived additions to his power set. A fun, fiery footnote in the long, strange life of Logan. And that, folks, is the lowdown on the toughest, grumpiest, and most enduring mutant hero in the Marvel Universe. Wolverine is a complex tapestry of history, trauma, and unyielding power. What's your favorite Wolverine storyline? Are you glad the hot claws are gone, or do you wish they'd stuck around? Let me know in the comments below. If you want more deep dives like this, hit the like button and subscribe for more comic book facts.